Hey, Jamie, let me respond to AC, and I'm going to respond to you because I like you. Considering how hard you are about being on code, I'm shocked at your viewpoint on this one. Court, you know this ain't on code. What's not on code? The code is for Black communities to get better. How can we get better if a word is still hurting us and making us lose a bag? India Reed don't pulling her money from Spotify, pulling her music from Spotify. That means her losing money because someone said the word nigga. That's not code. How is it not being on code when I'm trying to make us stronger and want us stronger, and to not have a word used to offend us continues to since the 1800s? So this is what I'm not understanding. Code is for the betterment of the Black community, period. Now, if someone comes with you all raw already, like, I get it. I've had my experience, like I said before, when I was 8 years old with the white truck and the white man, and it was completely uncalled for, confused as far as me being 8 years old hearing it. But what am I supposed to do with that if someone calls me a nigger? Fight? I'm supposed to beat a bitch up if a white girl calls me that? Is that better in the community, or having me out there? So now I'm with the assault. Like, I want us to grow. We can't grow if we still hurt from shit that happened back in the day in the 1800s. I can't grow from that. So this is what I guess I'm just not understanding why we give this word so much power, as if we're still enslaved. We have the power to change it. We have the power to not let it affect us, because let me tell you, once it doesn't affect us, they can't use it anymore to hurt us. That's all I'm trying to say. Quit giving these white folks power of a word to hurt you still. KJ?
Peace.
Hi. What you got
Now,
for us?
Courtney,
Yes.
you know I got major love for you.
God, you can disagree with me. That's fine.
I'm talking about no, you know, and see, I ain't gonna unsubscribe to you. See, I had to unsubscribe to it.
It
I
is
had to
so weird.
unsubscribe.
Everyone is not going to agree with me. This ain't a
Look,
platform for everyone to agree.
I'm gonna let you see. I'm gonna let you have, because see, this is one of those teachable moments, right? And see, I was taught long time ago that the word nigga in itself has a spiritual connection to Black people because it comes from the word negus. Nigger is the anonym of negus. Negus means like ruler, king, leader,
Right.
all of those terms. So this is a spirit. This is a spirit. See, this is a spiritual matter. We're at a spiritual war right now. And we're at war with white supremacy on a physical level. And when the sister was like, you're being off code, I can totally agree with her on this, because for the simple fact, when I did my own research of this Joe Rogan cat, because I wouldn't dare listen to the white dude. I'm pro-Black. It's just certain stuff I don't use to entertain my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feed my mind certain stuff, you know. But I did my research, and it took me straight to the scene where he was talking about the apes. And then he went into the movie theater and he looked around. They was in this new neighborhood, and he asked the man, was it a good neighborhood? I didn't find nothing funny about that. And then he said when he went into the theater and he looked around, he said they went to see Planet of the Apes, but they were surrounded by apes. They were in Planet of the Apes. So when this white man, when he said that, the first thing that I could recognize is that was racist. I don't care how you flip it. He can have a stepdaughter, stepson, whatever he had. He can have a Black wife. They can still be racist. I've worked for racist white people. They paid me money. It doesn't change. The narrative doesn't change. Listen, the system of white supremacy, one thing about this power structure, it changes its narrative as it does. What we haven't figured out is that we need to be able to change the narrative as we do. When we start claiming ourselves to be FBA, they start recognizing us as FBA now. They was calling us African Americans. They were saying that we was from a whole continent of Africa, and from the country of America. Now that we tell them, hey, look, we're from here. We're from the foundation that built this country. What are you talking about? You can't displace us.
Facts.
So when we start to push our own narrative, because you are the black media, Courtney, you are the black media, just like the other people that I follow. We're the black media. We're the ones that have to change the narrative. When we get on their narrative and say, well, hey, well, why do we care about the word? The reason we care about the word because there's a spiritual connection to it, and they say it to us out of disrespect. Now, when we say it, yeah, we say it as a term of endearment, but me, myself, I try to refrain from using that word because collectively I have been impacted by white supremacy. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm far removed or I'm far above, like I'm not one of you guys. We all face the same dilemma. We are all in the same shoes. When they say be on code, that means, hey, the narrative is he said something messed up. We need to be trying to shut him down. That boy Amir Locke got killed in his house. That is open season again. He wasn't even the person they were looking for.
Right.
You know, it's open season again. They sell it. They're putting crack pipes in our community now. They put the money that they were supposed to be giving us for reparations, and they put that towards crack pipes. See, it's open season again. See, they feel like we've been dumbed and drummed down because we've been following all their mandates and they're putting the mask on and all that. Well, they're gonna get in line. So I understand where you're coming from when we want to talk about the word in itself. Okay, the word in itself is a derogatory term. True indeed. I feel like we should leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when it comes to them saying it, there's a whole different level of them saying it. See, one thing I know about white supremacy, they're conniving and they're cunning. They'll tell you, hey, you're good, and still they will call the police on you when you're walking out the door.
Okay.
So I'm just giving it to you raw, real. You my folks. I love you.
Well, yeah, and it's okay. And we're going to disagree. And for me, that's not me policing people and policing a term. That does not make me want to kill someone if I'm called that. I've been called that before. I've been called a bitch before. I've been called a lot of names before. It don't have the power over me, and I don't give none of this shit power over me.
But I don't think
what you say to me cannot hurt me.
Can I just let you know personally, for me, it doesn't bother me at all. Like personally, because I don't want you to be the voice of the black community that say that we are hurt by this word. I don't think so. We're not bothered. We're not hurt to the extent we know where it's coming from when they say it. We know where they're coming from, and when we got people caping and covering for them, then that's what we get hurt about. We get hurt by because we got to argue with our own people about a word that we know that they're using in a racist way, and then we got our own people trying to defend them.
That's a little.
Hold on. It's a difference bit understanding, not censoring someone and defending. Now, it's context. Hold on, I'm going to get Hakeem too. Context matters to me. So if a white person were to say, yeah, that Nas, it's nigger show, what am I supposed to do? Slap his ass?
They ain't gonna say that though, Courtney. They ain't gonna say that.
I'm gonna get you. Hold on. I'm gonna get you, Russell. Okay. Let me get Hakeem first, and then I'm gonna get you, Russell, because he's been waiting. Okay.
Hey, Courtney, how are you?
Good, Hakeem. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So I want to shift the focus a little bit to this conversation, and then I think what we have to look at and observe is, with the word itself, we have to look at other oppressed groups in this country, and if there's certain terms that they don't allow others to call them, and what happens when people publicly call them those terms. Now, there's two groups that come to mind. There's the LGBTQ and there's the small hats. We know what happens when we speak out a term or say anything bad. I mean, case in example, look what happened to Nick Cannon when he had his conversation. I forgot who he had it with, where he almost had to go do a cowtail just because of what he did.
Right.
And
it was with Professor
he didn't
Gray.
say it. Now, he didn't say anything of any context or of anything that should be taken a certain way, but no one came up to them. No one dares comes up to them and says, wait, why do you look at it that way? They don't even have this discussion in their internal community. That's what I guess I want you guys to understand. So the whole point now, the other part people in the panel may not agree with this. If we need to be taken that seriously. And what we need to do is move the needle where we get taken that seriously. And in order for us to do that, we just have to stop using the word. But that word isn't going away because it's sadly part of popular culture, and it's not going away. Unless we take it away from the music, which it's not happening. And unless the artists, say, we're not going to do this anymore, it's not happening. And in order for us, because I think that's where you guys are trying to get to, we shouldn't be allowing people to say it, but then at the same time, we shouldn't be saying it ourselves, and especially in front of other people. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm Black. I don't allow anyone in my family, my younger siblings, my friends, they have enough respect for me where I don't allow them to say that word. And I think we need to kind of get to that, because if we're going to do apples to apples, we have to do it the way those other groups do it. And you're just simply not going to find them calling themselves that word. And if they do, they're not going to do it amongst other people. That's the point I guess I want us to look at. I think if we look at it that way, it rings clear. Yeah,
and I agree with that. So if you don't want white folks saying it, then don't you say it. Because at the end of the day, they'll call a Hispanic person a wetback. But I'd be damned if I've never heard a Spanish song. Hola, or at the back. No, they don't say that. They don't call each other that. The whole. And let's talk about the Jewish community and the whole Whoopi Goldberg thing. They didn't have to get on the news to say nothing because they own shit. You suspended. Goodbye. Right. That was it. They don't have to do that because they own the shit. So if they don't like you for saying anything negative, goodbye. You're done. That's it.
Exactly. But instead of complaining, we should be working to gain that power to then, because it's almost like we don't have the power to enforce, to impose people not to use it. We use it. There's a lot of confusion. We don't have, like you said, they have the power. They just hit one button, you're gone. We're always complaining. We're coming off as very confused.
All over the place.
Courtney.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yes. And then I'm gonna get Russell. Yes.
So check this out. What I was gonna say was this. The reason that thing with Whoopi Goldberg, right? Those are white people. Regardless, Jews not a race. So at the end of the day, when we want to break it all the way down unto the systematic racism, we know what the dominant society does and how the dominant society operates. People are trying to play checkers against each other, but we trying to play chess over here, man. We got to get on code with the narrative. We got to change the whole narrative. If we don't want you saying it, we need to stand on it. All that, well, we shouldn't say it either. One thing about it, if we're the ones that are going to enforce something, everybody else will start falling in line.
You can't enforce the word. You cannot enforce the word. If someone says it, then what you going to do? What are you going to do?
I tell you what. Mm-hmm. There doesn't have to be a hostile reaction to everything. I don't know. Like, everybody doesn't go to the streets and grab guns when somebody says something. All I'm saying is being on code and enforcing something. Enforcing means we can all be in agreement together. That's what I'm saying. Like, the narrative, we have to change the narrative. Like, once they got on code with Whoopi Goldberg and say, oh, she said something wrong. That lady said the truth up there. She told that the Holocaust was not about race. She told the truth. It was about white on white crime. They don't want you pointing their narratives out. So once you point their narrative out, okay, let her put her in her place. She's still Black. That's a nigga. That's how they treated her like one. The Nigger one. Not the A one. Not the one that rode with Tupac in my picture.
But here's the whole point of the matter that I think needs to be understood. When you we just have to stop using the word. And I think whatever it may take to bring that power, because the whole thing is about power respecting power. We have no power right now. And the only reason why they may cancel someone is not because, okay, we force them to, it's just to paint a narrative, what so have you. And the problem is that we have to, it's going to take time. And like I said, it's so ingrained in popular culture that it's not going to go away in our generation. But the way to do that is we have to move the needle. We have to start thinking differently. And the thing is, if we, the solution is not allowing people to say it. Because if you allow people to say it, it's like a domino effect. Other things start to seep in. As you guys are aware of, they're starting to commonly, you find teachers doing slave narratives and having children enact them. That's becoming the norm now. And people are being outraged and saying, okay, why are they doing that? But I just want to call to you guys' attention, these sort of things are happening. And in order for us to move the narrative, we just have to think critically. And the way to do it is you're not going to like it, but we just got to stop it. And whether it comes to, them, and you, like they said, you can't have people stop doing it, especially when you're not there in front of them. But if you, as an individual, says to yourself, not only am I not going to do it, but I'm not going to allow people around me to do it. That's all you can do as an individual. But like Courtney says, you're not going to be able to stop them to do it.
Yeah. Let me get Russell. How are you? Thanks for hanging out. And then I'll get you to AT.
Well, I think what the problem is, simply the problem is, Black people don't understand, or this young generation, I don't know whether they know or don't know. When they used to say that word, a Black person was being hung behind that word. So when the rappers say, I use it as a term of endearment, they really mean that. And you know that. When somebody of another race say that, you know they coming from I can't say they coming from a place of ignorance, because one thing I want to know, why you don't know your history? You know what you did for centuries. You used that word for centuries. I understand if it was just 20 years, 10 years, but you used that word for centuries. And you did some inhumane shit. There are people behind that word. So when we say don't use the word, don't use the word. It's just that simple. I don't got to explain to you why not to use that word. You're not going to say that in front of my mama, in front of my daughter. That would not be accepted.
Yeah, I just
now, my ancestors had to take it. They had to take it. I would not take it. You would not disrespect me. Period.
I just think that sometimes that it's a little dangerous to try to speak for someone else. So as far as intent, like we don't know what somebody's thinking, and we use the word all the time, and it's crazy that we're saying that we're putting blame on somebody else and trying to go off of feelings and how something makes us feel. But we have bigger issues to deal with rather than dealing with this. Like our as a whole, our people are fighting each other more than anything else. We're falling apart, and our families aren't even together, and we're worrying about this. We need to get ourselves together as a whole, And I'm 30. I'm younger than a lot of people in here, but I work with a lot of old fools that blamed other races for what they went through, and I just don't think that that's the thing that we need to be promoting. We just need to be the best examples we can be.
Ain't nobody said promote that. They didn't say promote.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that what you're just saying right now is saying you're basically talking about someone's intent. You're going based off of somebody saying something and saying that that where they're coming from.
Do you know what his intent was?
I don't know, and I'm not speaking on that. You're the one that said it.
Oh, okay. So I can take it how I want to take it.
Okay, but in that turn, somebody can say something and say it how they want to say it then.
But that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to know the history of this country and about that word. Again, what he's saying, the point he's making, usually when that word was used, the intent was it was bad. It was malice behind it.
But it's not changing anything. Regardless, that's not changing anything. That's not changing the needle on anything. Just talking about how the history of something. That if they were saying it then, they're saying it now. What is the issue now? You get what I'm saying?
If you don't know where you came from, young blood, you ain't gonna know where you're going.
Right. Just listen.
That's one thing why they're trying to take.
Okay, I get what I'm trying to. I guess I'm about to get off, but I'm gonna just say this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that we've been using that since I was a young boy. Since I was young, I've been hearing this all of my life. And the same people that's saying that, they're not changing. The same thing that we've been going through, we're going through, because we're not changing anything. We're worrying about what somebody else thinks about us rather than what we think about ourselves. Like forget all of that. We need to figure out what we got going on. Don't worry about what they got to say about you, because if they think that, then guess what? You can't change what they think. You cannot change what they think, not one bit. If they're racist, they're going to be racist. Until
it comes to your house, it does matter.
Okay. What you mean? Hold. And I'm gonna say this because I work with a lot of white people. I stay in Wisconsin. I'm around a bunch of white people. Now they could be racist, but nobody has approached me with it. Nobody has said it. And now when they come up to my door, then I'll deal with that. But I cannot have a preemptive strike based off of the chance that somebody might do something to me.
We're not saying that. I'm just saying, just be aware. No, I'm saying be aware, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. You told us you're 30. Listen, just be aware that, and I'm not saying it to either. I don't look for it, but I have an understanding and I know the history of it and the history of this country, and been a black man all my life. There's things and certain thoughts that people have that's associated with that word that has malice intent behind it. That's all. We're not yet. Do whatever. But I'm saying,
I was just speaking to the subject of a black person saying it and a white person saying it.
Okay. And then let me respond to this, because I'm not sure. Sometimes y'all come up with the most interesting ideas. There's not a person on this panel that said being called a nigga by a white man is respectful. Not a soul on this platform.
That's how some of y'all responding though.
No, it's not. And this is the thing, that because we're not listening to, we're trying to hear to respond. And again, we're taking it off the subject of with Joe Rogan. He didn't call you a nigga. He didn't call me a nigga. He didn't call that nigga over there. He was using it in a context of replaying what someone has said. And then asking about the word. Well, when we say the word nigger, it has this connotation to it. This word is this. It is an offensive word. He was talking about the word. He wasn't calling anyone out their name. He wasn't pointing at anyone being disrespectful. He just said the word. So
what about the 8 part, Courtney?
Well, we can talk about that. But right now,
Well, what you think if you think he'll discuss CRT?
Hold on. What I'm saying is the word. We can't keep moving it around. What I'm saying is the word. It doesn't matter if it's point to disrespect you, or even if they saying it in a rap song. The essence is black folks don't want people to say the word, period. And because of that, it has a lot of power in our community.
And I agree 100%. And one last thing I want to add before I drop off. I'm tired of hearing everyone say when we use it as a term of endearment. Have you heard some of these songs when rappers use them? You niggas ain't shit. You ain't nah. I'ma kill you. I'ma do. It's extremely violent.
Everybody know that's fake music.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's fake or not. It's still being used. The
listen.
word is used derogatory, period.
Yeah, the narrative is like complete. So whenever I hear us saying that, it's like we're being violent against each other, and we're embracing that. It's like, oh no, we can use it. It's all love. It's not love. When we call each other the N-word, not all the time. Sometimes, in some cases, they'll be like, oh, that's my N or whatever. but a lot of times it's super disrespectful. It's violent. And that's where it starts. You can't ask to clean up other people's, other races using the word when ours is toxic.
Everybody benefits